The laundromat hums at 9 p.m., a low drone of machines that feels like the world breathing. I'm 27, sitting on a plastic chair that wobbles, my phone open to an unsent text I've been rewriting for 10 minutes. Hey, you around later? 2 forward. Delete. Saw your light on. Too creepy. Delete. The dryers spin, and I'm alone with my thoughts, which is how it usually goes. My apartment's too quiet these days, just me and a stack of takeout containers I keep meaning to recycle. I fold the corner of a receipt in my pocket, creasing it sharp, then smooth it out again. It's something to do with my hands. The bell above the door jingles, and I look up. It's her, Clara, mid-40s, maybe 47, from the apartment across the hall. She's got a canvas laundry bag slung over her shoulder, her hair pulled back in a loose bun, a few gray strands catching the fluorescent light. She's a nurse, works odd hours at the hospital, always looks tired but steady, like she's carrying something no one else can see. I've seen her in the hallway, unlocking her door, her hands quick but careful with the keys. Once, she smiled at me when I held the elevator, and I've been thinking about it too much since. Hey, Theo, she says, her voice soft but clear, like she's used to being heard over chaos. She remembers my name. I don't know why that hits me. Hey, I say, sitting up straighter, my fingers pausing on the receipt. Late shift. Always. She sets her bag on a washer, her movements practiced, and glances at me. Her eyes are brown, warm, but there's a flicker in them, something heavy, maybe sad. You're here a lot. I shrug, my thumb rubbing the edge of my phone. Yeah, well, clean socks are my legacy. It's a dumb line, but she laughs, just a little, her lips curving like she's surprised by it. I notice her hands then, calloused but gentle, as she sorts her clothes. No ring. I don't know why I check. The machines rumble on, and we don't talk for a bit. I watch her out of the corner of my eye, pretending to scroll on my phone. She folds a towel with quick, precise snaps, and I wonder what it's like to be that sure of your hands. My life's a mess of half-finished projects, coding gigs I take to pay rent, a guitar I haven't touched in months. I don't tell people I'm lonely, but it's there, in the way I linger here, hoping for something to shift. You ever forget how to sleep? She asks, breaking the silence. She's leaning against the washer now, her arms crossed, looking at me like she actually wants an answer. I hesitate, my fingers stilling. Sometimes. Brain won't shut up. She nods, like she gets it. Me too. Hospital's loud, but home's too quiet. Her voice catches, just for a second, and I feel it in my chest, a tug, like we're sharing something without saying it. The dryer buzzes, and I stand, my sneakers squeaking on the tile. I grab my clothes, folding them badly, aware of her watching. See you around? I say, trying to sound casual, but my voice is too soft, too hopeful. Yeah, she says, her eyes holding mine a beat too long. Night, Theo. I walk home, the night air cold, my phone heavy in my pocket. When I get to my apartment, there's a text from an unknown number. Couldn't sleep. You. My heart stumbles. It's her. I stared at the text, my thumb hovering over the screen. Couldn't sleep. You. It was Clara. Had to be. I'd given her my number weeks ago, after helping her carry groceries up the stairs, her hands full, mine empty. I typed back, slow, like each word mattered. Same. Laundromat didn't help. Sent. Then waited, the apartment too still around me. Her reply came quick, T. My place. Doors unlocked. My heart kicked up, doubts flooding in. She was older, experienced, a nurse who'd seen life's edges. I was just Theo, piecing together freelance code jobs, avoiding calls from my mom about settling down. What was I doing? But my feet moved anyway, slipping on shoes, crossing the hall. Her door creaked open, and there she was, in sweatpants and a faded tee, hair down now, framing her face. The apartment smelled like chamomile and something warm, lived in. Bookshelves lined the walls, photos tucked in frames, a younger her with a kid, maybe college age now. She waved me in, no big deal, but her eyes lingered a second too long. Couldn't stand the quiet, she said, pouring tea from a kettle. Her voice was steady, but her fingers gripped the mug tight, knuckles pale. She handed me one, our hands brushing, soft, accidental. I sat on the couch, the fabric worn, like it had stories. We sipped in silence at first, the clock ticking in the kitchen. Steam curled up, and I watched it, mind racing. What if this was nothing? Or worse, something. She was divorced, I'd heard from the building gossip, messy, years ago. Her son visited sometimes, close to my age. That twisted in my gut, forbidden like a line I shouldn't cross. But here I was. You ever miss the noise? I asked, breaking it. Hesitant, but honest. She set her mug down, staring into it. All the time. Hospital's chaos, but its purpose. Home's just echoes now. Divorced 5 years. Kids off at school. A small truth, dropped like a pebble. Her eyes flicked to mine, then away, folding a napkin on the table, creasing it slow. I nodded, suppressing the urge to reach out. Imagine scenarios played out, us laughing over bad TV, her head on my shoulder. Or her pulling back, the age gap a wall. I get it, I said. Moved here after a breakup. Thought space would fix it. Just made the quiet louder. She smiled faintly, her hand shifting closer on the couch. Not touching, but near. We're a pair, then. The tension hung, thick in the air. I wanted to say more, but doubts choked it, too young, too uncertain. We sat like that, tea cooling, silence wrapping around us like a shared secret. Then, as I stood to leave, she touched my arm, light, fingers lingering. Thanks for coming over. It was just a touch, but it burned, meaning everything unsaid. The hallway light buzzed, too bright, as I locked my door. Clara's touch from last night, her fingers on my arm, still lingered, like a bruise I didn't mind. I'd gone to the laundromat again, hoping she'd show. She didn't. Instead, I washed the same hoodie twice, my hands folding it too carefully, thoughts looping. Was she serious? Just lonely? I'm too young, what? Not enough. I checked my phone. No texts. The silence gnawed. She was in the lobby when I got back, sorting mail, her scrubs wrinkled from a long shift. Her eyes flicked up, caught mine, held too long. Theo, she said, soft, like she'd been waiting to say it. My stomach flipped. Hey, I said, stopping, my keys jangling in my hand. I wanted to ask about last night, the tea, her hand. But her posture shifted, shoulders tight, like she was bracing. Pulling back. I felt it, a wall going up, and it stung. You're out late, she said, flipping through envelopes, not looking at me now. Her fingers moved fast, deliberate. Laundromat again. Yeah. Routine, you know. My voice sounded thin. I leaned against the mailboxes, too casual, my thumb rubbing the key's edge. I wanted to say more, about the quiet, about her, but the words stuck. What did she want? A friend? A distraction? I couldn't read her. She nodded, her lips pressing tight. Silence stretched, heavy, the lobby's fluorescent hum louder than it should have been. I noticed her hands, the way they paused on a bill, then moved again. Hesitant. Like she was fighting something inside. You okay? I asked, stepping closer. Too close. Her breath hitched, just a fraction, and I saw it, her eyes softening, then darting away. She wanted this. Or didn't. God, I couldn't tell. Before she could answer, the elevator dinged. Her son stepped out, backpack slung over one shoulder, his eyes narrowing when he saw me. Mom, he said, voice sharp, like he'd caught us. My chest tightened. He was my age, maybe younger. The math hit hard, Clara's life, her kid, her past. I was just the neighbor. Matt, she said, her voice steady now, but her hand gripped the mail too tight. Didn't know you were coming. Surprise, he said, glancing at me, then back to her. The air shifted, tense, like a string pulled taut. I stepped back, my sneakers squeaking. I'll see you around, I said, my voice trailing off. Clara's eyes met mine, a flicker of something, regret, maybe, or longing. She nodded, slow, her fingers brushing her hair back, a gesture that felt like an apology. I turned to go, my heart pounding. In the stairwell, I stopped, leaning against the wall, so close to running back, to saying something reckless, something true. Her face in my mind, those eyes, that pause. We'd almost crossed it, whatever it was. Almost. The park across our building was empty, just wet leaves and streetlights cutting through the dusk. Clara and I ended up there after she knocked on my door, her scrubs swapped for a sweater, her face tired but soft. Walk, she'd said, like it was nothing. I followed, my hands stuffed in my jacket, heart tripping over itself. Matt's visit last week hung between us, unspoken. His eyes on me, judging, had left me raw, jealous of a bond one couldn't touch. We sat on a bench, the wood damp, her knee close to mine but not touching. The air smelled of rain and asphalt, and I watched her hands, steady, always steady, twist the hem of her sweater. Silence pressed in, too loud, like it was waiting for one of us to break. I saw you with him, I said, voice low, barely controlled. My fingers gripped the bench, cold seeping through. Your son. He's my age, Clara. It's messing with me. The words spilled, clumsy, honest. I looked at her, expecting a wall, but her eyes were wide, unguarded, like I'd cracked something open. She exhaled, slow, her breath visible in the chill. Matt's 22, she said, not looking at me, her hands still now. Divorce was hard on him. I'm his mom first, always. But you, she trailed off, her voice catching, like she was afraid of the next word. I shifted, my shoe scuffing the gravel. Guilt clawed at me, for wanting her, for being here, for not being enough. I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted, my voice quieter than I meant. I see you, and it's like I'm not alone anymore. But I'm scared I'm just some kid to you. Her head turned, sharp, her eyes locking on mine. You're not a kid, Theo. Her voice was firm, but her fingers twitched, like she wanted to reach out. You see me. Not the nurse, not the mom. Me. And it terrifies me. The confession hung there, raw, like a wound she'd been hiding. My chest tightened, wanting to close the gap, to touch her hand, her face. Her eyes flickered to my lips, just for a second, and I leaned in, slow, the world narrowing to her breath, her warmth. But she pulled back, just an inch, her hand rising to her chest like a shield. I can't, she whispered, not angry, just broken. Not yet. I nodded, swallowing hard, my hands curling into fists to keep from reaching out. We sat there, the bench creaking under us, the night too quiet. Her gaze lingered on me, soft, heavy with something unsaid, regret, maybe, or hope. It was enough, for now. But it hurt like hell. The laundromat was empty again, the hum of the dryers a dull ache in my head. I hadn't seen Clara in days, not since the park, her almost confession, the way her eyes held mine before she pulled back. I kept replaying it, her words, "You see me," like a pulse I couldn't shake. But now, nothing. No texts, no hallway glances. Her apartment door stayed shut, her light off when I passed by. I sat there, folding a shirt I'd already folded, my hands moving just to move. Hope had crept in, fragile, and now it was curdling into confusion. I'd started checking my phone too much, typing texts I never sent. "You okay? Did I push too far? Delete, delete." My thumb hovered, my chest tight. Was it Matt? Her son's visit, his sharp look, maybe it reminded her I'm too young, too close to his age. Or maybe it was her, carrying something heavier than I knew. I didn't ask enough. Didn't know how. Then, yesterday, I saw her in the lobby, rushing out, her scrubs wrinkled, a phone pressed to her ear. She didn't see me, but I heard her voice, tense, low. "No, David, I can't. Not now. David. An ex. Her ex-husband. Someone new." My stomach twisted, jealousy spiking before I could stop it. I stood there, frozen, my keys digging into my palm. She was gone before I could say anything, her steps quick, like she was escaping. Now, in the laundromat, I felt it, whiplash, from her warmth to this cold distance. I wanted to knock on her door, ask what changed, but the thought of her brushing me off, or worse, pitying me, kept me here. I folded another shirt, the fabric warm from the dryer, and thought of her hands, steady but guarded, twisting her sweater that night. What wasn't she saying? An ex, still pulling at her. Guilt over Matt? Or just, me, not enough? The bell jingled, and my head snapped up, heart stupidly hopeful. Just a stranger, tossing clothes into a washer. I slumped back, my phone heavy in my pocket. I typed another text, "Clara, can we talk? I'm here." My finger hovered over send, the screen glowing in the dim light. I imagined her reading it, her face softening, or hardening, turning away. The ambiguity stung, sharp and quiet, like a cut I didn't notice until it bled. I didn't send it. I locked my phone, shoved it in my pocket, and grabbed my laundry bag. The laundromat felt smaller, the air too thick. I walked out, past her door, my steps slowing but not stopping. I wanted to knock, to hear her voice, even if it broke me. But I didn't. Her door stayed shut, and I kept walking, the hallway empty behind me. The kitchen in Clara's apartment smelled of coffee and faint lavender from a candle on the counter. I stood by her sink, drying a mug she'd handed me after I showed up at her doorstep, my knuckles white from hesitating before knocking. It was late, past 10 p.m., and she'd let me in without a word, her eyes tired but searching. The silence between us was heavy, like the air before a storm, and I knew, this was it. Speak, or walk away. She leaned against the counter, her sweater slipping off one shoulder, her hands still, gripping a dish towel. I'd spent days wrestling with her distance, the name David, the way she'd pulled back. My chest ached with it, fear of losing this, whatever it was, before it even started. But standing here, the mug warm in my hands, I couldn't retreat. Not again. "Clara," I started, my voice low, cracking. I set the mug down, too hard, and it clinked against the sink. I don't know what this is. But I can't stop thinking about you. And it's killing me, not knowing if you want me here. The words felt raw, like peeling back skin. My hands shook, so I shoved them in my pockets, my eyes on her, waiting for her to shut me out. She didn't move, but her breath caught, her fingers tightening on the towel. "Theo," she said, soft, like she was testing the word. "I'm scared." Her voice was barely above a whisper, and it broke something in me. "I'm 47. I've got baggage. Matt, my ex, this life. You're young, you've got time. I don't want to hold you back." Her eyes met mine, glistening, vulnerable, like she was handing me something fragile. I stepped closer, the floor creaking under me. "You're not holding me back," I said, my voice steadier now. "You make me feel alive. Like I'm not just drifting. I don't care about the age, or Matt, or any of it. I just want you." The confession hung there, exposed, and I felt the cost. Her rejection could end this, end me. She exhaled, a small, shaky sound, and stepped toward me, closing the gap. Her hand reached out, hesitant, then rested on my arm, her touch warm, grounding. "I see you too," she said, her voice barely audible. "And I don't know how to do this, but I want to try." The world stilled, the kitchen shrinking to just us. My heart pounded, relief and fear twisting together. I wanted to pull her close, to kiss her, but instead, I covered her hand with mine, my thumb brushing her skin. She looked up, her eyes soft, a faint smile breaking through. "Okay," she whispered, and it was enough. A simple, human tether, holding us together in the quiet. 3 months later, the park bench was dry, the air crisp with early spring. Clara and I sat there, her knee brushing mine, a thermos of black coffee between us. Mornings had shifted. 8:47 a.m. used to mean me alone, scrolling through unsent texts, but now it was us, sharing quiet moments before her hospital shift. No grand gestures, just this, her hand resting near mine, the world soft around us. We'd earned it, step by careful step, through doubts and silences. Life wasn't perfect. Matt still eyed me warily when he visited, his hugs for Clara tight, protective. I got it, her son, her anchor. But he'd softened, once, when I helped him fix a shelf in her apartment, our hands steadying the wood together. Clara's ex, David, had faded, just a voice on a call, no longer pulling at her. My coding gigs were steadier now, and I'd picked up my guitar again, playing late while she listened, her feet tucked under her on my couch. Small things, but they made the quiet less heavy. This morning, she sipped her coffee, her eyes catching the light. I remembered the laundromat, her folding towels, the way I'd watched her hands and felt something shift. Now, those hands were familiar, brushing mine when we cooked, steadying me when I doubted myself. The guilt and fear, hers about age, mine about not being enough, hadn't vanished, but they'd softened, like worn fabric. We didn't say, love. We didn't need to. It was in the way she left tea bags in my kitchen, the way I kept her favorite mug clean. "You're staring," she said, her voice light, a half-smile tugging her lips. She nudged the thermos toward me, a callback to our first nights, tea in her apartment, the air thick with what we couldn't say. "Caught me," I said, my thumb grazing hers as I took the thermos. Her smile grew, and I felt it, peace, hard won, like a room we'd built together. Not flawless, but ours. We sat longer, the park waking up around us. A jogger passed, a dog barked, but it was just background. Clara leaned her shoulder against mine, her warmth seeping through my jacket. "This is nice," she said, her voice low, like a secret only we knew. Yeah, I said, my eyes on the coffee, the steam curling up like it did that first night. It's enough. The bench creaked as we stood, her hand slipping into mine, natural, unhurried. We walked back, her pace matching mine, the thermos swinging lightly between us. In that moment, I thought of her door, once unknocked, and how we'd crossed that threshold together. It was ours, this quiet thing, and it was enough.